Hello and welcome to the first episode of the podcast. My name is Hannah White. I am the hostess of this show, and thank you so much for joining me. Thank you so much for listening and being here with me today. I wanted to start the very first episode off with a way for us to get to know one of each other. I know that me recording this makes it a little more one-sided, but I hope that you'll comment down some of your responses to the questions I ask and answer today. And we can start a thread, we can start a conversation going and, really get to know one another. That's the goal with this entire process. So, for the first episode, I've decided to make you all fall in love with me. I know that sounds very narcissistic, and it is, but what did you expect from someone that has decided to start a podcast and the main theme of it being something that centers around their life? So, let's get to know one another. Yeah, let's get into it. So to be doing all of this, I'm going to be referring to the 36 questions that lead to love. You can find the original form of this on the New York Times website. I'll leave a link to the article in which I'm pulling the questions from in the show notes. And then if you're watching the video version, I'll leave a link to that in the description box. So either way, you can find it for yourself and enjoy and answer, and maybe you should do this with your friends and family. See what kind of discussions you can start up that way. But yeah, let's go ahead and let's get started. Okay, I did want to go ahead and give a little disclaimer to anyone listening. I have been known to be a pretty indecisive person. For Christ's sake, my sun sign is Libra, so I have not looked into any of these questions prior. I have not done any of the prep work. I have not looked into any of these questions. They are all fresh. This is all on the fly. So, question number 1. Given the choice of anyone in the world, whom would you want as a dinner guest? Okay, given the choice of anyone in the world, whom would I want as a dinner guest? I'm going to say Harry Styles. I have been a One Direction stan since the early stages of their American career, so not a true stan, but most of you out there listening aren't either, and you did not discover them until they were on Nickelodeon too. So I don't want to hear it. But I think Harry Styles and I would have a lot to discuss, more so me picking his brain, but I've always fancied the man. He is one of my true celebrity crushes, and I just think he's a cool guy. I think he seems so genuine. He is so artistic. And honestly, we have a lot of similar taste. Fun fact, there have been a lot of instances where I have worn something or I have gravitated towards a specific taste or a specific person. And I kid you not. I know that the media is delayed sometimes, but that's not the point. The point is, I do something or I think of something or someone, and then Harry Styles ends up dating that something, that someone, or doing that thing, or wearing that thing months later. It's happened on at least 3 occasions that I can think of that come to mind now. You know what? Yeah, let's go ahead and list out some of those. So, there was a picture of Harry Styles wearing a black and baby pink, what is it? It was like a blouse or something like that. It was black with baby pink hearts on it. He wore that blouse somewhere and it was photographed. I kid you not, the same print I had a scarf of, and I was rocking the shit out of that scarf in middle school and wearing it around. A few months later, he's wearing a freaking blouse of the same pattern. Okay, that's just one instance. Second instance, Camille Rowe. Enough said. I was a big Camille Rowe fan whenever I discovered her on YouTube. It was even before she did her big little docu-series with Vogue. That's how I discovered her. So when she did those series, I was proud of my girl Camille for getting that advancement in her career. I loved watching those videos. Big fan. And then Harry Styles starts dating her, which I understand. She's like one of the coolest, seemingly coolest girls out there. Big Camille Rowe fan. So maybe my answer should be Camille Rowe instead. I don't know. I digress. I know I said I was going to give 3 examples, but I'm just going to stick with those 2 for now, and maybe as the podcast continues, I'll bring up more Harry Styles references and my love of Harry Styles. So, answer 1, Harry Styles. That is dream dinner guest. All right, moving on to question number 2. Would you like to be famous? And then if so, in what way? Okay, yes. I am a middle child. I have narcissistic tendencies. Yes, of course I would love to be famous in some aspect. I would like to be famous in the way of being recognized as an innovator or creative in, there are a few different fields actually. But I wouldn't want to be famous to the point of like Kim Kardashian. I would like to be like small indie artist level of fame where it's like I have a few true diehard fans and it's people that are inspired by my work and people that want to talk and discuss and converse. And ultimately, I want it so that I can have connections and so I can make friends and so I can make money. So that's the way in which I would want to be famous, not in the grand scheme of like people stalking and sitting outside of my house. I would want it for the doors I think that it opens. All right, question 3. Before making a telephone call, do you ever rehearse what you're going to say? Why? Yes, 100% yes. For the longest time as a child, I would not answer the phone because I was not prepared for people calling me or for people calling my mom or my grandma, and the thought that I was going to have to answer the call and I was going to have to talk to these people, and I knew they didn't want me and I hated it and I knew I didn't know what I was going to say, and it was just going to be this awkward, uncomfortable conversation, and I wanted to avoid it at all costs. So yes, I do rehearse what I'm going to say, and for the longest time, I would not call anybody. I mean, even to this day, I hesitate making phone calls because I hate it. And if I go into an interview, especially over the phone call, you bet your ass I prep out every possible scenario in which the conversation could go because I like to feel prepared. I don't like surprises. I don't like going into a situation completely blind because I like that comfort of knowing somewhat what to expect. I love a good game plan. So yes, of course, I rehearse what I'm going to say on the phone. And of course, I rehearse what I'm going to order in the drive-thru line at fast food places. I don't want to be the person that gets up in line and has been waiting for a little bit and then gets to the ordering window and not know what I want. I don't want to sit there another minute or two and waste their time, waste my time. I want to know. Because I feel like it's just so annoying for everybody involved and I don't want to get on anybody's nerves. That's basically it. I don't want to get on anybody's nerves. So yes, I rehearse what I'm going to say on the phone. I rehearse what I'm going to say most of the time. I am an air sign for any of you that are into astrology. Air components make up most of my top 3 in my birth chart placements, so your girl is in her head a lot more than she should be. I feel like it's totally normal too. I feel like a lot of people rehearse what they're gonna say, or at least a lot of friends that I've had in the past. We've had this conversation of discussing the ordering process or calling somebody, so I feel like it's more common than it isn't. But I don't know. Let me know in the comments below. Let me know if you rehearse what you're gonna say, or if you just totally off the cusp nail it the first time, don't feel like you need to rehearse it. I mean, obviously now that I'm talking about it, I'm like, it's ridiculous that I rehearse all of this because in the grand scheme, it doesn't matter. All right, question number 4. What would constitute a perfect day for you? Perfect day. You know, this is a great question, and I know that this is something in which the answer would continuously change, but perfect day at this moment in time. I would say wake up early, but wake up well slept, well refreshed. The sun's just starting to peek through, okay? So maybe like a good little like sunrise, get some of those perfect orangey pink hues, get to bear witness to some of that. But you know, if I don't wake up in time for that, then at least to where like it's just become light, where that like nice golden beam of light sprinkles in through the window when you wake up, that is the start of it. From there, a nice cup of hot coffee. Good coffee. I like a good Colombian roast or a dark roast. That is the preference. No cream, no sugar, just nice, warm, black coffee. Okay, and then for breakfast, a breakfast burrito. I've been really into a good, thick, yummy breakfast burrito with some salsa or hot sauce, some little like spice or kick to it. Beautiful. Amazing. That's what I want to start my day off with. And then right now, because it is winter and I'm over it. I'm to that point where I'm over it if it's not snowing and if it's cold and ugly and miserable outside. And like I said, not snowing, it's not worth it. I'm over it. I hate it. I want the sun. And my eczema is flaring up right now because of this sensitive conditions going on in the outside world. My skin cannot bear with it. So your girl wants some sun. I would be doing all of this and waking up in like Miami or some beautiful, luxurious beach destination. I want that turquoise water. I want that white sand. I want to go and I want to wake up, eat my breakfast, and I want to go lay on the beach. I want to take a book with me. I'll probably maybe read like a chapter, but realistically, I'm just going to lay there and day drink and sleep it off a little bit, and then get in the water and splash around for a little bit. But mainly, I just want to be a little beach bum. Do that for a good couple of hours, okay? And then get back from the beach and, you know, just take like a nice, cute little quick shower just to rinse everything off, wash that little sea salt off of my body, and then hit the gym for a little bit. I'm gonna either be on the treadmill and do a nice, cute little treadmill workout or like a good Stairmaster climb. Just some form of cardio where I really feel it and I feel like a hot, bad bitch and I feel better about myself. I mean, at some point I've of course had lunch throughout the day on the beach, so you know, we forgot to sprinkle that in there, but it should be noted because we're not going to day drink on an empty stomach and then go work out. No, we're going to have some like really nice yummy fish tacos with like cabbage and some sort of like verde or like somewhat creamy, not too creamy, chipotle sauce, something like that. That's what we want. We want like something somewhat light but also a little bit fried. So that's lunch. And then, like I said, we're going to do our cute little workout. And then we're going to go back to the place we're staying. Dream scenario, it's like a house that I've rented out, or it's a house I own, you know, because this is our dream world, our idealistic day. And we're going to take a bubble bath, and we're going to take a time. We're going to take all of that time. We're going to take a long time for ourselves. It's going to be a nice, like, burning my skin bubble bath. I want to be warm. I want my pores open. I want to sweat, okay? I'm going to sit in there and I'm going to soak for a while. And you know what? Maybe I'll write some poetry. Maybe I'll journal. But mainly it's going to be a good little reflection. This all just sounds like a very big reflection day. That's what it sounds like. But I also want to sprinkle in like a little cute bike ride in throughout the day at some point. And then go to like a cute little Lex dinner with like some friends, or maybe I go by myself and then I meet like this really cool group of girls while I'm out, and then, you know, we start vibing and I end up spending the night like hanging out with them. We hit up like a really fun dance club. I don't know, it's vacation time, okay? You know, we're all a little bit more risky and willing to put it out there on vacation. Okay, so yeah, that's my dream day. That's the answer, and I'm sticking to it now. It sounds really boring and relaxing, but also kind of exactly what I want and need right now. Maybe sprinkle in some like museums and art showings in there. Definitely a bike ride. I want to go biking so badly right now, and I don't know why. I don't want to bike, but it just sounds really like fun and like some hot girl shit. So somebody get me a really cute bike. When did you last sing to yourself? Or to someone else? Oh my god, when did I last sing to myself? I'm blinking so hardcore on this. You know what it was? It was yesterday in the car on the way home. I, of course, was listening to some Jack Harlow, maybe some Doja Cat and Saweetie sprinkled on in there. But yeah, that's probably the last time I sang to myself. What song have I been singing, like, nonstop? I'm trying to think. No, you know what? No, it's even after that. So yes, that all did happen yesterday, but the last time I sang to myself was this morning, and my new favorite song to listen to at the moment is, what is it called? I think it's like Money or something like that. Oh, what is it called? I gotta look it up right now because this has been like my little anthem, and I've been like low-key singing it to myself, unironically. It's called Money. It's by Rico Nasty, and it features Flo Milli. That has been my fucking jam at the moment. I have been binging hardcore and singing that to myself like no other. That song has been my shit right now. Also, this is a good time to plug my first quarter playlist for 2022 on my Spotify. You should definitely go check it out. It's mainly a lot of Jack Harlow, I'm not gonna lie, it's what I've really been feeling. And it's not a big playlist at the moment, I've literally just started it with like all of the songs I have been like jamming hardcore to. Like, think like character in a movie like Hot Girl playlist or a like wannabe Hot Girl playlist with like some indie in there because I've got Lorde in there. How can I not have Lorde? Is Lorde even classified as indie or is she just pop? Oh, and then like another iconic song to be featured on this playlist that I listen to unironically quite often, and I know it's on another playlist on my Spotify account, is A Little Bit Alexis by Annie Murphy from Schitt's Creek. Oh my god, if you have not listened to the full song, if you've only listened to the snippet from the show, go and look up the full version. You will not regret it. I cannot leave it alone. I love that song. I listen to it and it's a mood, it's a vibe, it's a lifestyle. So I just wanted to plug my first quarter playlist and I will be adding to it as I see fit. It does take a while for me to get into new music and really gravitate towards certain songs. So we'll see how often I add to it, but yeah. Definitely go check it out. It's on Spotify.com or your Spotify app. My username is HannahElise99. I'll have a link to it in the show notes. And then video viewers, I'm going to have a link in the description box. Question 6. If you were able to live to the age of 90 and retain either the mind or body of a 30-year-old for the last 60 years of your life, which would you want? The mind or the body? You know what? I'm going to go body route because I have had to bear witness to a lot of friends and family getting older, and from personal experience and what I've had to witness, it seems like such a tough hassle to get around, and I would not want to deal with that. And any of the people in which I've witnessed the aging process happen to, any of them that have received like Alzheimer's or dementia or anything like that, it's never been a case of anything sad. If anything, they've been really happy and light. And it seems like the body is the one that really catches people up and it causes a lot more problems. So let's retain the body of a 30-year-old. Also, you know, you can be really fucking hot at 30. And if I'm like 90, and I'm able to move around and really, you know, get with it, I'm gonna want to get some. And you know what? If that dementia kicks in and I have no idea who you are and I ask you who you are like every couple of minutes, I'm not bothered by it. You are. And chances are at that age, I don't need you around. I don't want you around. You won't be missed. The only thing that I will miss is the ability to not move. So yeah, 100%. We want that body right. Question 7. Do you have a secret hunch about how you will die? No. I have no idea as to how I will die. I like to think and hope that it will be natural causes in my old age. I have gone to a psychic. She wasn't a psychic. She was, well, I guess she kind of was. But she was a palm reader with some intuitive sense to her. And she said that I will have health problems whenever I'm older, which is something I've already known and believed to. She said I will live to be older, which is something I already had somewhat of a hunch about. She said I'll have some health problems, but I'll overcome those health problems, and then I'll die at an older age. So, that's about as much of a hunch as I personally have on how I'll go. I don't really want to know past that. I don't want to be murdered. I don't think many people do want to be murdered. Yeah, I just hope for a very peaceful, easy death. I hope that I just like slip into a death state while sleeping or something like that. That's as much of a hunch as I've gotten from that, which isn't too much of a hunch. And, you know, maybe she was just telling me what I wanted to hear, but she was pretty accurate about some other things. So, question number 8. Name 3 things you and your partner appear to have in common. Well, I don't have a partner. I'm single, and, you know, I'm doing this with you guys. So, the 3 things I think we have in common, or I would hope for us to have in common, would be open-mindedness. I think that's a good, strong quality to have. A sense of adventure. And then 3rd, what do I want for us to have in common, or I hope we have in common, is a creative streak. Yeah. So adventure, creativity, and open-mindedness. That's what we want here, ladies and fellas, you know. If you want to listen, you want to listen. I'm not going to discriminate. You know, that open-mindedness really peeking through right now. Question 9. For what in your life do you feel most grateful? Honestly, I feel pretty darn grateful for a lot of the aspects in my life in general. I feel very blessed and lucky with the hand in which I have been dealt, and even for some difficult situations I've encountered, because I think that I've had to grow up a lot and learn a lot in such a short amount of time. And I think it's just been very character building, and it's been able to make me more sympathetic and empathetic with others and so many other different walks of life. And so I'm grateful for the ability to be able to have a broader understanding and more compassion for people. And yeah, I've been handed a pretty good set of cards. So, you know, I have a great family. I've had a very great family dynamic that I'm blessed for. And, you know, there were many times growing up where I wished I came from a different family, and that, you know, I was secretly like a princess of like some small foreign country, and they were gonna come and get me and steal me away from my American family at any moment. And I really held on to that. And I think it's funny because my mom said she had a similar thought processing growing up. But even just having that be my comforting thought as a child shows how privileged I was and how privileged I grew up. So yeah, I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at the cards that I have been given. So thank you. Thank you, God, universe, life, whatever. Just thank you. That was a really nice little question there. Maybe we should start incorporating like what we're grateful for, or listing one thing we're grateful for in each episode of the podcast. That might be something we incorporate. Number 10, if you could change anything about the way you were raised, what would it be? Oh my God, how funny is it that that is the next question? I swear I didn't go down and peep into what the next question was. Okay, if you could change anything about the way you were raised, what would it be? Ooh, this is good. I'll say, let me paint you a little picture of how I was raised, and maybe this will bring more understanding and awareness to my answer. So I grew up the middle child of 5 children. I have 4 brothers, and I'm the only girl. So I grew up smack dab in the middle of 4 brothers. I came from a household where my mom was acting like a single parent, even though my mom was married to my stepdad. So it was almost like she was acting as a single parent because they both were working full time. He worked in a different county than my mom. So he had a little bit of a drive to get to work. And him being my stepdad, it was a different parent dynamic than like a typical father-daughter, father-child relationship. Anyways, like I just said, my stepdad worked in a different county than my mom did. So he was away doing his own thing and working where he worked as a full-time. They were both in education. And my mother worked in education as a high school teacher for the high school in the county in which we lived in. So basically she was a mom to 5 kids, had a full-time career, a full-time job as a high school teacher. And any of you that are teachers' kids know that there is work that has to be done outside of the school. You have to grade papers, homework, lesson plan. There's a lot that goes into it. So already that's a lot on anybody's plate. And then on top of that, she was continuing her own education and chose to continuously thrive. And honestly, I didn't even know how she did it, but she would work towards like a specialist degree, or, I mean, a specialist is pretty high up there, I think, but she went as pretty much as far as she could. She ended up getting her doctorate. So my mom was a part-time student, which big kudos to her, raising 5 kids, being a teacher, and then just all of it. I don't know how she managed, but if there's anything I would change from my childhood, I wish that maybe we had like a nanny almost, or like a dedicated like caretaker, because there were certain things that I always wanted to explore outside of school or just like activities and whatnot that I really couldn't, because I didn't have a parent that had time on their hands to help me fulfill what I wanted to feel like. Yes, I was very fortunate, and I did like some theater camps and stuff like that, and I went to like a few like summer camps, but there were a lot of things that I wanted to explore and do more full time, and I didn't understand how to get those things, and I didn't come from a family that had the time to help me do those things. So it's really nothing that was like that major, but I would have appreciated it more as a kid because there were a lot of times where I was the one that had to entertain myself, which is actually like a really big blessing in itself. But, you know, being the only girl, nobody wanted to play with me, and I didn't really fit into a lot of the family structures going on. So I spent a lot of time by myself, and I had all of these big thoughts and goals and dreams and ambitions, and I didn't have anywhere to really put any of that creative energy outside of my room and like myself. And I just wish I had more experiences, but that's the only thing I think I would really change about my childhood. All right, question number 11. Take 4 minutes and tell your partner your life story in as much detail as possible. Okay, I feel like this is going to be a doozy, so let me bring up the 4-minute timer on my phone. And I feel like these last few questions, I've already gotten quite deep in some of my responses, so let's see what I can do in 4 minutes, shall we? All right, 4 minutes is on the clock and starting now. My name is Hannah Elise. I was born Hannah Elise Bollinger on September 28th, 1999, at 11:32 p.m. So if any of you ever want to look at my astrological birth chart, feel free to do so. I know you don't know where I was born, so I'm not going to state that, but maybe we'll get into it one day. Maybe that'll be a different podcast episode. But at the time I was born to a single mother, and I came into a household with 2 older brothers, one named Philip, one named Graham. Now, these brothers and I, we have a little bit of an age difference. Philip and I believe it is somewhere about 5, and Graham and myself, it's about a 4-year age gap. Okay, so growing up, I don't even know where to start. We have 3 minutes left on the timer. It's only been a minute. Growing up, I had a pretty decent childhood. My mom, you know, like I mentioned earlier, she was busy doing her thing. She was getting into teaching, and because she was getting into teaching, being a full-time single mother, and trying to pursue the career ambitions that she did, I spent a good bit of my childhood at my grandparents' house with my grandparents. Now, I did that for a little bit, but I don't think I started off that way. Yeah, no, my grandmother actually refused to keep me for a little bit because my mother was a single mother, and my grandmother did not approve of that, so her way to punish my mom was to not watch me, forcing my mother to go seek childcare elsewhere, which found me into the loving arms of people that I continued to view as my grandparents for a while, that I called Mama and Papa. Now, I stayed with them for a while. They were my love. They were my life. And then I guess it was financial means. I don't know. My mom decided to take me out of that, and I guess my grandmother decided to actually watch me again, so I went and stayed with my grandmother. Well, your girl did not like that. Your girl did not like that. Your girl pitched a fit and cried and screamed until she got her way, until some form of arrangement was made where Papa decided to come and pick me up from my grandmother's house, so I no longer had to stay there because I loved Mama and Papa more, because I felt like they were my family, and my grandmother was very envious and jealous of that. My grandmother held that over my head until the day she died, but she still picked me and loved me, and I was one of her favorites. This is still very early childhood. Oh, yeah, my mom got married whenever I was like 4 to my stepdad. My stepdad was my stepdad for like many years until I was 12. We only have like a minute 30 on the timer, so I'm trying to speed things up because I'm still in early childhood. Clearly there's a lot I need to uncover and unpack there. But anyways, they were not very happily married for most of my childhood, finally separated, and I think the divorce was finalized when I was like 12. So middle school, you know, hard times. My grandfather, my real grandfather, my mom's dad, was someone that I really loved and admired and had a very close relationship with, and viewed him as a father figure. He passed when I was in middle school. That was very emotional for me. And even before that happened, I was already getting into some very depressive states and episodes, and had undiagnosed depression before he passed. He passed. I did not know how to cope with that, and then the depression continued to increase. I was diagnosed officially with depression when I was like in high school, went on again, off again to the doctor. Never decided to take meds until I was in like later high school. I dropped out of high school after 9th grade and went to an online charter high school. Did that for some years, and we have 15 seconds left on the clock. Started working retail, and yeah, I couldn't do it. It's fine. We had like 9 seconds left, and I was not anywhere near done. Maybe I'll finish the rest of my story and get further into it in maybe a later question or a different episode. I could not do that, but oh well. I can't wait to listen to that back and see how much of a train wreck it actually was. Yeah, okay. So that was question 11. So I did my best to answer question 11. It takes more than 4 minutes to try and tell your life story. And for whatever reason, I'm very much so out of breath for all of this, and my throat feels a little tickly. So question 12, which completes the first set of questions, by the way. So yay to us for getting through. If you could wake up tomorrow having gained any one quality or ability, what would it be? Alright, I'm gonna keep this one really short, really sweet. If I could have one quality, I think it would be to quit self-sabotaging. That's as simple as that. I need to quit self-sabotaging, and that's something I'm gonna actually bring forward moving on from this question, moving on from this podcast episode. So this is your sign to get out of your own way too. I think I would want to know, I think I would go like the magic 8-ball route with this crystal ball and go with like yes or no questions and not get specific details, or just receive like symbols or dates of important life events like sent to me, but like no further context than that. Like I would want to ask this little crystal magic 8-ball that I have now like imagined in my head. I would want to know if I'm ever gonna meet Harry Styles, which I have a very strong hunch that I will. I had a dream that we did a movie together, and honestly, doesn't seem that far off. I think it could happen one day. We'll see. He was like totally in love with me in the dream, and I was flattered, but like didn't want it to go anywhere because I was super focused on the project and the film, and yeah, so that's definitely gonna happen one day. I just need to know, like, I need to confirm basically, but I already have like a strong hunch that it will. So like a yes or no with that, and then and then going off of that, totally unrelated, so I don't know how I jumped to this conclusion, but like, am I gonna get married? That is something I've always pondered. And then, yeah, other than that, I don't want specifics. And even with that, I don't want specifics. I just want like yes or no's. And then like maybe like significant dates, not even all of them, maybe like 3 significant dates in my life. Maybe have like those pop up, and maybe not even be like the full, but like maybe like a month and a year. Or maybe just like a month and a date, and it being like, hey, this is sometime in the future, you don't know when. But yeah, little hunches like that. I don't want all the nitty gritty because I don't want to alter with the timeline. So that's what I would want. Which also kind of feels like a lame answer, but it's more fun to keep like that mystery and surprise element there instead of just being obsessed over this certain idea and whatnot. And then what if that totally just alters all of it, you finding it out? Or maybe, you know, that's a part of the timeline, and maybe that's including that you find out because it's already aware of that. Who really knows? So yeah, that's my answer to that. Question 14, is there something that you've dreamed of doing for a long time? Why haven't you done it? You know, honestly, this is a really great questionnaire, and it hits really deep. So I highly recommend that each of you do this with your loved ones or friends. And honestly, we may only do a few more questions and then stop for the first episode and do like a part 2. I have always been really into movies. I know, totally like film bro of me, and like who isn't, right? Everyone thinks they have great, astonishing movie taste. But I've always wanted to write a movie or TV script or get into the writing process with that. And then I'm really into cinematography, and I would actually really love to learn not all about that. I think a lot of that is like trial and error, and you have to figure out a lot of the things for yourself and just experiment, which is why I have a YouTube channel. So we're kind of somewhat doing it, but it's not to the level we want. We're still figuring it out. But cinematography, I really want to get into making little movies that really capture certain emotions and feelings. And I do want to write a script. I've already started writing a book that should hopefully be out within like the next year or two. It's definitely not coming out in 2022, and if it does, it'll be the tail end of it. But even then, I don't think it'll make that deadline. I think it'll be like 2023, 2024 when that book comes out. But I do want to write movie scripts because I think more than just writing, but just like the ways in which people interact with one another, and slight coloring, and all of these symbolic little elements that go into so much more than just writing. I don't know what I'm trying to say. Point being, I want to make movies, and I want to be in some of these movies. Maybe not the ones I write, but acting, directing, writing, basically anything any LA girl is trying to do, or LA boy. So something along those creative avenues. But yeah, I haven't done it yet just because, one, money, two, I guess like, I want to say lack of resources, which I mean goes with the whole money thing, but I think a lot of it has to do with fear. Is like, oh, I don't know that I'm good enough, so I haven't fully tried to get into it. But yeah, I think that's why I've started dabbling in elements of it, like I said, by starting like a YouTube channel, and I've been writing a book, but I haven't fully gotten to where I want to be with that. But that's okay. You know what? I think that's what this year is for. I think this year is for finally going after the things I've wanted for a while, but I've put off, or continuing to go after other things that I have started, but haven't continued to move forward with just because I've stood in my own way. So I guess 2022 is kind of like a year of persevering and moving forward without much questioning or without much inner dialogue on my end. Question 15. What is the greatest accomplishment of your life? You know what? The greatest accomplishment of my life so far has really come within the past year and a half to 2 years, with all of the inner work that I've done on myself, and all of the patterns that I've overcome that were self-destructive. That's my biggest accomplishment. Like, in 2021, I freaking started my YouTube channel. I posted on that bit. I think I only made like 12 or 13 videos, but that's more than I'd ever done before, and I had wanted to start doing YouTube since I was in like elementary school, like early mid-2000s. I wanted one. Didn't make videos. I somewhat attempted, and I somewhat would like play and make videos with my friend, but like, no, I didn't do it. But I did it in 2021, and in 2020, I created my blog, and I started posting in 2021. Well, actually, it was in 2020 as well, but started posting more regularly on my blog in 2021, and that was a fun creative hobby and like outlet. So yeah, that's part of my biggest accomplishment. And also little like nudge to little high school Hannah too, for getting into photography and starting to take like portrait pictures of your friends, and then doing some creative photo shoots in your bedroom. So like, I'm proud of her, and I'm proud of this past year me for getting out of her own way. And you know, it's crazy because like, when you actually go after what you want and you continuously do it, and you finally silence those voices in your head telling you you're not good enough, or to just wait, and you know, once you reach this certain peak milestone that you've like created in your mind, once you reach that, that's when you can do X, Y, and Z. When you stop listening to that, and when you actually go forward with it, it's amazing what happens. And it's amazing the small shifts that take place in your mind. Like, by me alone doing so much inner work and finally going forward with what I've wanted to do for so long, and you know, getting out of my own way, I was able to come off of my antidepressants that I had been on for so long. And in no way am I knocking antidepressants. Some people need them, and I think my experience with them, I definitely needed them when I did. But to get to a point where I am not strong enough to where I don't need it, and I don't foresee myself going back on it, that's a really big fucking deal. So I'm proud of myself for that. I think it's important to mention that, you know, some people do need medication, and there should be no negativity, because if it helps you and it makes you feel good and you need it to survive, then I would say just do it. Okay, question 16. I think this is a great note to leave today's show on. So, question 16, what do you value most in a friendship? I think friendship is a beautiful, beautiful thing. That connection, that bond you share with someone is so great. Okay, what do I value the most in a friendship? I don't know. Okay, you know what I would want in a friendship. Let's do that because it goes along with the values aspect of it, of what I am looking for in a friend. And you know, this is gonna look different for some of you, and for others it may not. But I'm looking for someone, because these are traits I value within others and value within myself: a sense of humor, and open-mindedness. I want someone who is adventurous and wanting to take risks. I want someone that has done some work on themselves and are in a good, healthy place, because that's where I'm at. I've done a lot of work on myself, and I'm tired of parenting people. So, and then I need a confident bitch. Yeah, I need someone that loves themselves and knows their worth, and someone that helps me shine, and someone that I can help them shine too. You know, an equal give and take. Just a really cool, confident, funny person. That's what I'm looking for. And if you feel like that could be you, DM me. Yeah, if you think that we have a good vibe or you think we would connect and get along well, DM me. Let's start a friendship. Yeah, that's my answer. And that's going to be where we stop for today's podcast episode. So, thank you all so much for joining me on the very first episode. It has been an honor getting to sit and chat with you these past minutes. I don't know exactly. I know it's been close to an hour, so maybe it's an hour, maybe it's slightly under. Either way, it's been a delight. And I would love to hear from you. So, like I said, you can DM me, you can email me. I'll have all of my links to everything in the show notes or the description box. If you want to check out the video format of this podcast episode, I will also have a link to that in this show notes as well. And I look forward to doing part 2 with you, and you know, I look forward to seeing the projection and where this podcast goes. So, with that being said, I am your hostess. My name is Hannah White, and I hope you have a fabulous day. Until next time, all right, bye!